For $69 on the internet, you can get the Ticker Watch. It's a watch that uses a simple algorithm and your answers to some lifestyle questions to figure out exactly how many years, months, days, hours, weeks, and seconds you have left on planet Earth. So, a little bit morbid. The creator of the watch, though, said he wanted to create a device that would inspire and encourage people to make every second count, to make the most of their life and what they've been given. So that's a little bit what I want to talk to you about today. I want to inspire you with what you've been given to do something more amazing. So Mark Middleton this morning, amazing talk, right? You guys have been given awesome skills and a passion to change people's lives in profound ways. You've also been given 168 hours a week to do that. No more, no less. We all get the same 168 hours, God willing. So in that time, what it's most important to me is that you're using it to the best advantage. As passionate entrepreneurs together, we need to figure out how do we build not only the business that we want to change the most lives, we want to impact people in profound ways, and we want to do it without sacrificing our own life and our own lifestyle. Because how many know how hard it is to run a business? Right? And how you can chase down things, and the next thing you know, you haven't taken a vacation in 6 months. And by the way, this doesn't count as a vacation unless you're here for several more days, right? So it's really easy to get so involved in changing other people's lives that you forget to build your own life too. And so that's what I love about the Ticker Watch. And it's really what my ultimate passion is. I'm a marketer. That's what I like doing. I'm also a recovering corporate girl. But what I want to help you with today is the idea that you don't build a business that you don't want. And so to do that, I get a little bit of a backstory. This is me. Like I said, I'm a corporate girl, Caterpillar corporate, 12 years, long story how I wound up here. But I started studying marketing, and I became passionate about marketing. And I hired a great coach, fantastic guy. But the lesson I learned is never hire a workaholic bachelor as your business coach if you are a mom with young kids. Because I was building an awesome business under his model, but I was miserable. But things were thriving, and I was into it. I love what I do. And about the same time, I started teaching live workshops. I was doing a print newsletter, Facebook, campaigning, blogging, email, all of it at once. And I started doing these workshops, and they were 6-week workshops, and this is the very first group that I had. And for 6 weeks, I was taking these brick and mortar business owners, many of them were my friends, and I was teaching them marketing, what they don't know about this business and how to do it. And in the 6-week period, 6 out of the 10 came to me and confided in me that they were either considering selling their business or shutting it down because they were miserable. And I looked at him and I thought, I think I understand what you're saying. And at the same time, here's my coach, and he's teaching me what to tell them to do, right? So what are we supposed to do? And there's all this stuff we can do, and we've heard a lot of these ideas while we're here. And you got to be careful when you're a business leader that you don't set yourself up to crush yourself. We want to be the guy in the yellow pajamas, barefooting at 101 years old. And so how do you build a business where it's your 5%, and you build it and you do it in a way that it's a blessing to you and to your family? So I started looking at them, and I was looking at my own life. I ended up shutting about everything down that I had been building. I was miserable. I shut it down, and I said, how can I help people get 2 or 3 times the results with half the effort? Because I can't come to you and look at you and say, if you're miserable, right? You're not getting enough sleep, you're not eating well, you're not exercising, you haven't taken a vacation in 2 years. How am I supposed to tell you 6 or 7 more things to do to go get clients when you're broke? So I started saying, are there things that we can do for you that if we build them, they will last for you for a long time? And so I set out some criteria, and I had 3 things that I wanted to develop for my clients. The first thing was I wanted marketing tools that would authentically inspire their prospects. Now, I'm an online marketer. I get online marketing, but my ideal client is people a lot like you, right? They're brick and mortar people. A lot of you in here, you guys know the names, the stories of your clients, their children, their grandchildren. You know them, and so it doesn't work for you to pitch to them, right? You've got to be very authentic in your marketing. The next thing is I wanted to be able to remove you, the business owner, from the sales pitch. Because that's the one thing that my clients were telling me is I hate selling. I just want to help you. but I don't like selling. So how can I create marketing that removes you from pitching? And finally, I wanted something that would be maintenance-free for a long time. So I'm a hacker. So my 12 years at Caterpillar, one of the things that I do, we're always looking at business process simplification and systems and things like that. So I was looking for things that if I could create it, could I coast into it for a long time, right? So I've got to use it and leverage it from advantage. And so what I came up with is this idea of doing work sprints. And so high impact interval marketing, the concept is, can I work with you in a short amount of time, get something awesome created, that by the time we're done with it, it'll be something in place that you are now working less over the long haul. So, right? So more impact, less maintenance to begin to free you up out of your business, remove you from it, from some of the daily maintenance so that you can begin to think again, expand, open more businesses if you want, open different opportunities and avenues. What can we do to do that? So here's what I want to do. I want to give you the opportunity, if you want, to get my slides. So if you have your smartphone, pull it out. I want you to text the letters HIIM to this phone number. And I'm going to caution you because, oops, mistake, if you type in HIIM, it will autocorrect on to you for him. So you got to make sure and tell it no, it's HIIM, and watch the autocorrect. But text it to 678-506-7543, and if you want, then you'll get an email, and that'll be my slides for this. So if you want to sit back, I'm going to give you some checklists and a couple of things to include in your marketing that'll really help you get out of the pitching. Phone number's still up there if you're still working on it. Okay, so you have to appreciate where I come from in marketing. Because again, I'm all about authenticity, and so when I look at marketing, marketing is a conversation where I want to help you invest in something that you'll be glad you did. I find that a lot of people hate marketing. And so here I am working with clients, and the very subject of marketing or advertising made them cringe from head to toe. And I thought, I've got a problem. So you have to begin to reframe that marketing is a tool to help the people that you really want to help. You've got to convince them. So you've got this couple, right? Now we know what we want for you. Now we have to look at your ideal clients, and we say, what do they need? You need marketing tools that are going to pull you out of the day-to-day maintenance. And what they need is help understanding what they need to invest in. And they're scared, right? They're looking at, sometimes, this is overwhelming. The idea of what they believe happens in a gym, right, is scary. They don't know what to expect. So they've got questions, and you have to overcome them. So the very first question that they have when they go to research you is this for me? Would this be the right place, right? What's different from this than CrossFit? Those type of questions. The next question that your ideal clients have is, can I really do this, right? A lot of you are working with them for the first time in their whole lives. They've never worked out. Mark gave great examples of people who never did anything until they were 85. So you have to help them believe they can do this. You have to help them overcome their doubts in themselves, and then they need to trust you. You have to help them overcome their doubts in you. That's your goal with your marketing. So when we have that, I created what I call the golden checklist. These are the things that if you can put into your marketing pieces, that if you can answer these questions, that it makes it easier for them to say yes to you. The first thing is they want to visit your marketing materials, whatever it be, and see photos of people just like them. Am I in the right place? And that's really hard because stock photos in this industry they're not easy to get. That photo of the couple I showed you a minute ago took me an hour to find it. It was crazy, but I was trying to find the right couple. The next thing you want is a personable About Us page. Here's what's unique. The baby boomers grew up in an age when they knew the people they did business with, right? Before Walmart, we knew the people that we went and we knew the pharmacist. And the pharmacist knew our name and how many children we had. I used to go shopping with my grandmother when I was little, and everybody knew not only grandma's name, they knew me. I was grandma's little buddy, right? And so that's what they're looking for. They want to know you personally. And so that detachment of you trying to appear like a corporate brand actually harms you. You want to be personable, professional but personable. And you want to share goals and values. They want to work out with people just like me. They want to know that you're somebody that they can trust and you have the same opinions. A lot of these people are very active on Facebook, and they will go check out your personal page. And they're going to see if you're somebody that they would know, like, and trust. Okay, and they're going to see. So if you have on your personal page that you are a big Bernie Sanders fan and your ideal clients are Trump people, you've got a problem. So I've just learned to be quiet on social media about things that maybe my ideal clients don't know or don't care about. But I also am strategic about using things that would attract my ideal clients. All right, the next thing you want to put on your golden checklist, and again, this is in the text, the email you're going to get from me, are answers to not only frequently asked questions, whether you have an FAQ page or you have it woven into your blogs and all your material, but the frequently asked questions and the questions they should be asking, but maybe they don't know to ask, right? The easy one is that everybody asks price, but they shouldn't be asking price. They should be asking value. They should be asking other questions. You want to include testimonials with photos and names in as much detail as you're able to provide, because again, that's all that know, like, and trust. You want to explain your qualifications. Don't take it for granted that anybody in the world has a clue what functional fitness means. I've known Dan Ritchie for years, and it only was until I started working on the book that I really got what functional fitness meant. So this is the stuff you have to explain to them. Then you want to help them understand what to expect. It's scary. And so you want to explain what to expect when you walk in the door with us. What's the behavior look like? What are we going to be doing? And how will I ramp you up to where you need to go? And finally, what do I expect of you? Teach them how to behave. I don't know if you've ever done this. This is fascinating. Some of the really good big churches are doing this on their websites. They're talking about when you enter the door, you'll be greeted by one of our blankety blanks, and you're going to enter in, and you're probably, we're going to take a seat, and we're going to start with music. It's interesting because what they've learned is they're reducing the fear by telling you exactly what to expect minute by minute. And so you'd provide that in your marketing tools, right? And it's less scary. And then finally, you want a clear next step. What's your first call to action? What do they do first? Typically, that's your low barrier offer. That's a trial, whether it's a 21-day, whatever, some sort of clear next step. Okay, so we take that golden list, right? Now I know what I want out of my marketing. I know what my clients need out of my marketing. How can I get it done? What I started looking at again was I was looking for assets, things that I could build with you, that once it was in place, it would start to work for you for a long time and you wouldn't have to worry about it. Then you can start getting onto some of the more cool things. And you've got the flexibility in your marketing that if you need to take 3 months off because a parent is ill, or a daughter's getting married, or you want to go and get on a honeymoon, get married, whatever, that you can do that. So these assets, if you build them into place, they do the hard work for you, their foundation. So here's your foundation. So things like networking, Facebook, YouTube videos, email marketing, any ideas that come to you are amazing and they're valuable and you want to do those. But you've got to get a couple of key things in place first or you'll be spinning your wheels constantly and you can't get out of it. So we're going to use those tools to drive to 3 assets. The very first asset you want to build is a website, a really good website. Now, looks are as important as the content. And there are 5 key pages that you want to make sure you have, or at least this content on your mix of pages. The first is a home page with people just like me. Ideally, if you can use real photos and not stock images, that's a big, valuable asset for you. And ideally, people that are high profile that others in the community will recognize. You want a really good About Us page with the stories about you. Why do you do what you do? Because if they see you as a moneymaker and that's all you're all about, they won't trust you. But if you tell your story, your aha moment, and why you got passionate about this, they will bond with you, and they'll relate and they'll start to connect with you. You want your frequently asked questions. You want to explain your services. And again, this is mysterious to them. They don't understand. So explain what packages are available, how you work, whether you work group and one-on-one, and how would they decide, and you start to help them understand this. I teach a whole course on our webinar, if you will, on personalities in marketing and the 4 different personality styles. There's a good 30 to 40% of the population that will do freakish amounts of research before they'll pick up the phone. Raise your hand if you're a freaky amount research kind of person. Yeah. A good chunk of your people are, right? So when they're coming here, they need to see all of this stuff. And if they can't find it on your website, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go search other internet sites to find it. And you don't want them surfing the internet. You want to be able to provide that information to them so they stay, for them so they stay there. By the way, there's the other personality style that's in it for fun. So you want to make sure that if you want people that enjoy fun, that there's some fun aspect on your website. There are people that are in it for love, caring, and compassion. And if they don't get that sense from your website, they're going to move on. And then there's people that are challenge-driven, and they want to know, will this challenge me? Will I be, will I fit in here? Will you inspire me and encourage me and push me? All of those personalities in marketing are important. So the variety of hitting that in your website is to your advantage. And then the last thing I would put on your website is what to expect in your first visit. What do they wear? Right? They don't know what to wear. Do they have to go out and buy a whole bunch of clothes and wardrobes? Do they come barefoot? Do they wear socks? I don't know. Do I wear shorts? Can I wear a tank top? I don't know. They've never done this. So including all of that on the website just starts to break down the barriers, pulls the onion layers away, and relaxes them. Oh, there we go. Of course, you always want to include testimonials. I would sprinkle them throughout the website if you can. Put them everywhere. And the last thing is, I would encourage you strongly always to be building a list, to have a great opt-in where you're gathering names and email content, because the next asset that we want to talk about is a welcome email campaign. Now, I want to be clear that this is different than an email newsletter. So what I want to do is when I get a new client, any new client, whether they join me in January or they join me in November, I want to take them through the same step-by-step progression of information for the first few weeks they're with me. Then I can put them on my newsletter, or I can put them on my newsletter too. But first, I got to take them through a logical flow of information. And so it's the same golden checklist that you can do it. If you really want to follow it, you just use the same list. Email number 1, hey, we're all here for these type of people. And this is what we do. Email number 2, let me tell you a little bit about my story. Email number 3, right, share goals and values. And so let me tell you about why we do what we do here and what we're hoping to build with boomers. And so you just work through, it's a basic list. The interesting thing is the science behind how many times people need to touch, right, and feel you before they're ready to buy. And what's everybody know? It's like 5 to 12 times, they say. 7 to 12 times they need to experience you before they're willing to say yes. So 7 to 12 touches. It doesn't really work, advertising in general is great, billboard ads and all of that, they count for some of that, but it's when you're able to use these tools and tell your story that you can move through that quicker. So that's why I want you to build an email campaign that's real simple. You can do this, here's the cool thing, it's a sprint to do this. It's a Sunday afternoon, you block off 3 hours on your calendar, and you are gonna write 9 emails in 3 hours. That's it. Can you do it? Can you open up Word and chug off email number 1? Here it's people about you. Email number 2, let me tell you a little bit about us. Email number 3, and you just run through them. And you make your offer several times in there. Come in and try us out. So a couple things I would include in them. I would frequently include your introductory offer, right? This is the low barrier, not so scary. Come in and try us for however many days to get a feel for what we do. And the other thing that I would always include is this is a conversation. Make it personable. When you're writing these emails, write to somebody very specific, your ideal person. Because you have to watch it. When you get to writing and marketing material, you can get into pitchy mode, right? And I did this. I once spent 45 minutes writing the perfect email to my list, and I got done, and then I happened to look at my billboard where I keep a photo of my ideal client. I'm going to call her Susie. And I look at Susie, and then I look at my email, and I realize Susie would consider my email baloney. Crap. She would go, oh, Nicole is so good at what she does, delete. She wouldn't have connected with it all. So I threw out my email that I'd spent 45 minutes on, and I rewrote an email to Susie. And it was a conversation. And it was, hey, Susie, I hope you're doing well. And I wrote it just like that. And so it's, hey, Susie, it's, hey, Barb, it's, hey, John, it's whatever. Hope you're doing well. I want to tell you a little bit about us. I'm glad you're here. Right? I just want you to check this out. And if you can write it really chatty, you will be amazed at the response, because the last thing I want you to do is at the end of every email, encourage them to reply back to you. Because you're starting a conversation. Remember, particularly with boomers, they want to feel like they know you. They want to walk in and go, I know the owner of this place, right? We've been chatting. So it's important, it's really valuable. So here we've been talking about this, but we've covered 2 assets that are online. And the problem with online stuff is they're online. And when we are online viewing marketing stuff, we know it's marketing. So we've got our guard up a little bit. If your ideal client is still working, guess what? On the computer is the goal we have learned all day long. Our goal is to get off of it as soon as we can. So online marketing on its own is fantastic, but you want to get them offline too. Right? And so what I want to do is I want to take a client and I want to pull them off. And this is what Lindsay said, right, on my quote. I want to get them somewhere comfortable and I want to have a conversation about what's important to them. The problem is I still want you to have a life. So I don't want to send a whole bunch of people to a sales pitch meeting where you've got to spend 45 minutes with somebody convincing them that they need to change their life. So I want to use a tool that does that for me. Well, I can go out, or for you, well, you can go out and enjoy yourself and do something. And so obviously you got to know that asset number 3 is my absolute favorite, and that is a simple paperback book. Same process in a paperback book, same content. Right? It is people just like you. It's the golden checklist. It becomes your outline for your book and your message, and we're just walking you through a conversation, helping you break down the fear factor so that when you walk in the door with us, you're ready. And here's what's going to happen. When you do this right, when they sit down with you, guess what? They're going to still want to talk to you, right? Because now you're a friend. You have told them your story, you've shared that, you've shared everything about you, why you do what you do. They may even know some of your clients. They're going to want to tell you a little bit about their story. But when they get to that moment, you don't have to sell. They just want to tell you my story. And then the conversation is just, you think this is the right package for me? Should we start with 21 days? Is that where you think? Okay, good, then let's go. But by the time you've done this kind of stuff, they're not coming in. You don't have to pitch. It's sold. So again, what do we put in a paperback book? I'm talking about a very unique tool. I'm talking about a book that's 100 pages or less. I'm going to be specific on that. And I'm not trying to make a profit from this book, from the sales of the book. We do strategies with people where we sell the book, right? It's great if I can sell a book, and there's fantastic reasons to try to sell a book. But I would much rather have a $2,500 annual contract with a client than try to go to a meeting and sell and network with people and sell them my book for $7. Seems awkward. What I want to do is I want to walk up to you and I say, hey, can I give you a copy of my book? Right, we're talking and you're saying something. I'm like, oh my goodness, your dad sounds like he's perfect for me. Can I give you a copy of my book and would you like to give it to them? Or give it to your dad? Yeah. So I don't want to say, okay, here's $7, right? No, I want to hand these things out as quick as possible. And what we do with a book is we try to keep it under 100 pages. The statistics are really interesting. 60% of people will read a nonfiction book cover to cover if it's 100 pages or less. So we're not talking about something that's complicated. Once you get over 100 pages, once you get to 200 pages, readership drops to 30%. I'm sorry, 20%. You get at 300 pages, you can pretty much forget it. It's 2% that people will read. So it's just a short book. They can read it in under 45 minutes, and they're going to go through this conversation with you. And you don't have to be there. So this is a photo of Robin. Kudos to Robin. Robin, where are you? There in the back. She's been there all day. Robin actually published 2 books with us in 7 months. The woman is a warrior. But what's really important is the book becomes then this tool that people get excited about with you, right? A book is interesting, it's exciting, and it's something that you need to have as a tangible paperback product. It's very important. E-books don't count here. E-books are still on the computer. I can't say, oh, wow, I wrote an e-book. Your dad needs my e-book. Oh, yeah, great. If I could get my dad to read an e-book, my dad's a sofa guy. Mark was awesome today. You know what I'm doing for my dad? I'm getting him a subscription to Growing Bolder. That's what I'm doing for my dad, right? So what you want to do is the ebooks just don't work. Ebooks are fantastic for your website and to get people in on and do that. But then as soon as I get them on my list, then I want to get a book in their hand if I can. Not only do I want to get them one, I want to get them 2. So I am talking about a real paperback book. And here's what I want and what we talked about. So what happens when you hand somebody the book? The whole subconscious about this is fascinating because people relax. Number one, I'm handing you a gift. How many people have ever received a business card or brochure and went, wow, you're giving me this? Thanks. Wow. It just doesn't happen, right? It's a pitch. Here's my catalog, whatever. It doesn't work. But when you hand somebody a book, you have just handed them a gift. They know you spent time and you spent money on it. It has a value on it. We print prices on the back of the book even though we may never want to sell one because it has a dollar value on it. And the really neat thing is, particularly in America, we don't throw books away. So books stick around for a long time. They lay on people's nightstands reminding them of you. They sit on coffee tables, they sit on desks, they get shared, they get passed on, they get given from one person to another, and that's a gift. How many people? It's a referral gift. It cracks me up, the psychology behind what happens with you when you do a book. And I admit with marketing, you know what? Your ideal client may find you next week. But guess what? They have a daughter that's getting married, and they would love to do what you're doing, but they're gone. It's just not going to work. They got rotator cuff surgery, whatever. So you've done your work, you've gotten in front of them, but they may not be ready to work with you for another 6 or 7 months. Well, they're not going to keep their business card. They probably aren't going to keep your brochure, but you can bet they're not only going to keep your book, but when the time comes, they're going to read it again and get resold on what you do. So this is why I just love books. And they're going to sit in their chair, they're going to get relaxed, they're going to grab a drink, they're going to sit back, they're going to get comfortable. And you know how long they're going to spend with your marketing message? 60% of people are going to spend about 45 minutes to an hour with your marketing message in a totally relaxed state. How many of you would like a 45-minute meeting with your ideal client? 5 of them tomorrow. Yeah. Now, how many of you would like Dan and Cody to have that meeting for you so you could go do something else? Yeah. Yeah. So we'll get to that in a minute. So this is why I do what I do. So it's funny because I am first and foremost a marketer. That's what I love to do. But when I looked at it, I had to get real honest and say a lot of the things I think you ought to be doing, you just can't do yet because you don't have your foundation in place. And how can I help you get your foundation in place? And the one thing that I really love for people to do is to publish a book. And so we started doing that. We've been publishing books for our clients for about 3 or 4 years now. And very specific books, books that are designed to remove barriers and get them to work with you. The number one mistake that I see people do is they write the wrong book. They write the book that they want to write. And this is so important. If you are thinking about writing a book now, don't write the wrong book. Don't build the wrong business and don't write the wrong book. A lot of people will write a book that will give the person enough information that they think they can go do it on their own and then they don't need you. And guess what? If they could do it on their own, would they have done it by now? They need you. So we have to design a book that walks them through the conversations to get them into the door to where they need to work with you. And a lot of people they'll want to write their whole story. They'll want to tell too much. There's all kinds of things that go wrong. So that's where the marketing strategy is really important for you. What book is the right book for your business to get people in the door? So one of the things we did is we partnered with Dan and Cody, and we created the Functional Fitness License Book. We did this work for you because we realized that a lot of you, a book is the perfect marketing solution for you. But in reality, when are you going to write a book? If you'd written a book by now, if you could have, you probably would have. And so we did that. We created the perfect flow. It's not perfect, but it's a good flow of information. So we start with stories, and we start with where are they at, and how do we take them where they need to go. We show them sample exercises and people that are their age doing it. It's possible for you when you flip through a book and you see an 80-year-old woman and she's doing kettlebell swings or whatever she's doing, wood chops, there we go. And wow. And it's the whole thing. We're just sitting them on the sofa saying, look, these people can do this. Here's what's going on. Yeah, it's a little scary, but you know what? Here's what's to wear. Here's what you're going to see. The book says this. Here's what you're going to see and what you're going to experience when you walk in with us and why we do it. How many of you read the book that's in your bag that you got? Have you read it yet? This is the sample book of what we've created. That's the license book. And it's a conversation with your ideal client and all about functional fitness and what we do. So we've got 3 different versions of it. And this is the brand new version that we created because we wanted to drive the cost down as low as we could get it. So this one is a branded cover. The content's already done. This one is fast. The idea behind this one is that we can have it done and at your door within 30 days. So all we do is we take and brand the back of it for you. We put your business, we can change anything on this cover you want. Put your clients on the photo. In fact, our cover, I would highly recommend it's your people. And you can see I've brought several samples back there of a bunch of you that have done that. In fact, if you've done a book with us already, would you stand up? Let's give these guys credits. They're awesome. Yay, round of applause. Good job. Good job. Got several more. So, I think everybody that stood up too has put their clients on the cover. Really powerful strategy. And so when we work with you, we teach you to help figure out which client is going to become your social media champion, because it is huge when they're on your cover, right? And then they start bragging. Shelley has a great one. There was this news anchor, right? News anchor woman, right? Fantastic woman to put on the cover of her book. So the first thing we do is we work with you. We get the cover that you want. You can change the title. You can change anything you want on the book. And the base package is this one. It's $14.99. Then we start getting more creative. And this is where we were doing it for the last year. So all the people that stood up probably did this one. And that's where we want to encourage you to write a preface. So the first chapter in the book, actually it's Cody, he does an introduction. And after that, then we've got your story. And we actually, to speed things along, sorry that everybody's already done this, because we've now hired a writer who interviews you to write your preface for you. Because we found that it was too hard for people even to write the one chapter they needed to write for this book. So now when you do this with us, we get on the phone. We get you on the phone with our writer. Her name's Kathy, and Kathy interviews you and writes your preface for you. Now you may want to edit it, and you can. We do one round. But what we do is we've taken even that barrier, and then we include your bio in here. You can put your own photos in here. We want you to fill the back of the book with testimonials, so there's a place to do that in there. I would encourage you to go back there and see these samples, flip through them, and see their testimonials in the back and how they've included them. If you don't have testimonials yet, we let you use several ones we've got from FAI that are generic and stock, and you can use those as well. So they're inspiring. You can mix yours with ours, whatever you want. But we want to fill the back of the book with that. And then we've got special places in here that you can highlight and feature any of your own content. So some of you have 45-minute programs, and others of you have 30-minute programs, and we want to drop your business name in there a couple places. So that's what we've done in this book. And then some of you we have that are just itching to write a book, and you really want to customize it, but you don't want to start with a blank slate. And so that's where, there's Shelley's book. That's where we, by the way, this is Bryce and Tatiana's back there, Fit Buddy Forever. But that's where we work with you to, we give you the master manuscript, and we let you go hog wild, edit it as you want, and then you send it back to us, and we format it and finish it up for you and get it out there. But that's that. With every licensed book that we do, we also give you an idea book to help you. And so I've got several of those with me, so if you end up wanting to do that, I'll hand you your idea book today if you're going to do a project with us. But the idea book gives you examples of other people's prefaces, other people's testimonials that we've done for our first authors, and just a bunch of ideas to kind of get your juices flowing to help you with the project. And then we also give you a marketing checklist. All the things you can do starting immediately, which is I signed my first book deal, right? And you got social media stuff that happens right then and there. Brett Cohen, where you are, Brett? Where'd you go? There you are. He's already on Facebook today going, there's my publisher, there's my book girl. So that kind of stuff is amazing, because guess what? People are going to go, oh, Brett's going to publish a book. Yeah, it's really cool. And again, what we're talking about is local marketing tools. So we even include in our packages the opportunity for you to put it on Amazon. That's the middle and the top two packages. That's these two. This is a different one than I had earlier. There we go. These two packages, if you want, you can put your book on Amazon as well, so people can get it. And so as long as you've got a custom title, we help you work out those details. Because guess what? Your clients are going to go, oh, your book is out? Yeah, and it's on Amazon. Really? And they're really cool. And you know what? They're going to go buy it. Okay, great. Some people won't want to get it from you for free, so they'll go buy it. And you get royalties from it. I'll take those all day long. But the credibility of having on Amazon, posting a Facebook post about your book is on Amazon, all this is great social media stuff too. My ideal, though, is no matter what marketing piece, I want to tell people, stop in and see us and get a copy of our book. Because now if I can get somebody who's an ideal prospect to drive to my location and walk in the door, and I've given them a purpose to walk in the door, because it's really weird. I see people all the time will say, stop in and see us anytime. That's awkward to me. What if I walk in and I'm the only one dressed up and everybody's in sweaty? What am I supposed to do? You're in sweaty, and then, it's an awkward thing. But if I tell somebody, stop in and get a copy of your book, okay, now I have a reason to walk in. I'm going to cop in, and can I get a copy of your book? Yeah, here you go, right? And when you hand them a copy of the book, hey, can I get your contact information? I got a little more information about us. I'd love to send you some information about our services. What's your email address? And guess what? When you ask for it and you've given them a gift, they're not going to say no, right? So you give them your email address, and then you start them in on the campaign, the email campaign that we talked about. Get to know, like, and trust us, and you're selling to them or you're emailing them until they're ready to say yes. Make sense? Okay. All right, the other thing, we talked about that. The other thing that we are doing for people is we just did this. We had a marketing boot camp. Raise your hand if you were in the marketing boot camp. We had a bunch of you in there, yeah. So we created these done-for-you postcard templates. One of my other favorite assets, it's kind of a level 2, is to do a 3-step direct response marketing campaign via postcards through the U.S. mail. And so I've got a video on how to do that, and we created these templates. You can swap them out, use our images, or, okay, Lisa, I forgot to ask you if it's okay. The awesome Miss Lisa, right? Did this, like she used her own photo, dropped it in, changed the color palette to perfectly match her brand. And so we're doing a 3-step campaign, and we've done that. And so we're going to give you it, because here's the thing. These are postcards that go on U.S. mail, and on the back of these postcards, we're saying, stop in and visit us and get a copy of our free book. I'm going to get them to drive. I'm going to get them to find where we're at. And they're going to save that postcard, and Dan's done this too, right? They walk in holding the postcard. Can I get my book? You bet. Yeah, you bet. Here you go. So, and then what you do when they walk in to get a book, and you say, hey, here's your book. Do you have a couple of friends? Can I give you 3 of them? Do you know 2 other people who might be interested as well? Yeah. All right, let me give you 3 copies, right? And just share them. And guess, they're not going to throw them away. They give them if you give them 3 business cards, good luck with that. You give them 3 books, it's like gold. Wow, thanks. And so they will find, and it's special. They'll be special. Are you a book-worthy person? Are you going to do this? Because if you're really going to do this, I'll give you a book. But if you're not going to do this, and then it's, I want you to do this with me, Beth. Will you do it, right? And so all this kind of cool things happen. So we do the postcards. We're going to throw those in for everybody now. And so those of you who have a book, you will be getting those if you weren't in the boot camp to get them. The last thing is I wanted to plug too. We do custom books, of course. This is Robin's book, Healthy Knee Cycling, and I think most of you have seen it, and Robin's going to talk about it tomorrow. But we do custom books as well, because a lot of this doesn't work for you, the custom brand, or the one we've done. We understand you've got different businesses and different niches. We do things. The other things you can do, if you've got an online business, I'm sure you've seen, it's a free book, you pay the shipping, and that's a great list-building tool, and so those kind of things you can do with a book are amazing. But I want to leave you this thought, and it's really important to me. Don't build a business you don't want. Don't build a lifestyle that you don't want. I want to see you in yellow pajamas with yellow curtains and a sign that says, do it above your kitchen table. So you've got to be really smart and build the foundations and start getting the things in place that will free you to do the cool things, right? And so then you can start delegating, because now if I've got something like a book or an awesome website, the website and the email, you put those in place, they're good for 3 years. You don't have to touch it unless you change services and you go in and tweak it. The book now, I can teach my staff how to hand out a book and get an email and put a person on email. I can start delegating that. Now I can go out and I can be the voice on social media. I can do the videos that I want. But and then I have some flexibility and freedom. So make every second count and build the business and the lifestyle you really want. Help a lot of people. Make a lot of money so that you can help even more people, that you're free to do what you want to do with the business. Thank you. Early.
Thanks, Nicole.
You're welcome.
All right, I want questions for Nicole. We've got 5 minutes before I'm going to wrap us up. So anybody have a question for Nicole on marketing? Please come to the microphone if you got a question. So these mics are on, right? Okay.
I should go back.
It's just about the book template. So if it's your business's book, but someone else wrote it, how does that work as far as like when you describe the author on the cover?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's a really smart conversation. So what we did is initially we said it's licensed content. You guys are familiar with licensed content. When you're on Facebook and you repost growing boulders thing, it's not your content. You didn't write it, but it's okay and people understand it. So licensed content is the idea that somebody else wrote it and you can use it as yours. We do have some strict terms. What we want to do is protect you. So when you do a book contract with us, we do say, look, you're the only one in your territory that's going to do this. So we try to keep it about a 350,000 population. So I'll tell you, LA is probably the one area we're about sold out on now. But what we want to do is give you the turf so that the guy down the street isn't giving out the same book as you. And then we give you the choice, do you want to be the author or do you want to be listed as a co-author with Dan Ritchie, with Dr. Dan Ritchie, president of the Functional Aging Institute. And so we found some people totally fine with saying, hey, I wrote this book, and other people were like, no, I really want the clout of having Dan as a co-author. So does that answer your question?
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great question. Other questions? I see the time.
I did early.
Yeah, you're
Very
good.
good.
You're good.
You want
Yeah, I
this?
think it's great that you have those two options, one where we can just sort of piggyback, and then one where we can have a lot more input on the editing. But with doing our own book, that was the only one you didn't give any real price comparisons of. How much is that compared to the other two options, that where we really wanted to do our own work?
Total blank.
But again, kept
Yeah.
under the guidelines of under 100 pages, just like the other books.
Yeah.
But-
So what we do when we do a custom book, I'm going to do 3 strategy sessions with you, ideally, unless you've already written the book. But let's assume you haven't. You're actually going to take advantage of it. We're going to do 3 strategy sessions. The first strategy session, we're going to figure out what's the right book for you. How do I get people in the door? How do I turn a $2.15 book, which is what those books generally cost, or less than $3 for you to buy wholesale? I don't want any royalties from your book. My goal is to get you the book and get in your hands. So then I'm going to take the first strategy session, we're going to figure out what your book should be about. We're going to figure out what the content flow is going to be. Then we're going to move into another strategy session where we're starting to say, all right, how am I going to use this in my marketing? The third strategy session is how do I plan my launch? And then we take care of all the publishing details. And I believe the package on that is four payments of $7.97 each. And when we're done, we train you on how to wholesale order at any time. We put it on Amazon. Yeah, but with the second, yes. So with custom, you're writing and getting strategy sessions. With the other one, you've bought the content. Because we slaved over that content. So yeah.
Yeah. I wrote, and then you cleaned it all up. So, Robin did a custom book with you,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And we actually took her to, was it international bestseller or bestseller? And she,
International.
yeah, international bestseller. So, you might ask Robin about that experience if you want to do a custom book, because that's definitely an option. So.
We did a book for Dan's dad, and he went
We did.
bestseller. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you've
Dan,
done books
yeah.
for all sorts of segments. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, well,
All
thanks,
right,
Nicole.
Thank you. Very good. You want that?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Oh, no.
Is it okay if I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Is that legal? That
You
I
have
ask a question?
43 seconds.
Okay, in 43 seconds or less, why should we publish a book at all? That seems very expensive, and why for boomers do we need to be a published author when we can do Facebook ads and everything else?
Yeah. Okay, so we covered the marketing side of this. But the whole credibility of being a published author is something we haven't discussed. Huh?
Especially with this population.
With this population, and particularly the ones that are research freaks, and the ones that are challenge driven, because it matters to them that they're working with the smartest, the best of the best. So the credibility of being a published author is extremely powerful. How many of you have competition in your community, and how many of them are published authors? Yeah. It's really cool. And by the way, so being a published author gets you on TV, and that's what we included in the checklist, right? If you've got a book, the media is more interested in you. You get speaking opportunities. And you can go speak, and you can give your book to everyone in the room. You can sell it at the back of the room and make money, and that's totally fine in that particular atmosphere. People would expect that. Or you can get sponsors to buy 50 copies of your book to give to everybody in the networking room. So the fitness training gear studio down the street that sells all the try and run, whatever, that sells the shoes and the pants and that, they might sponsor giving everybody a copy of your book if you'll go speak for them, right? And if you will include a coupon in there for $20 off their shoes, whatever, right? So
Yeah, they give our book away at the counter faster than I can keep them in stock.
There you go.
Which is a great resource for me, right? I'm never going to set foot and try and run, but they're sending my book out the door like crazy. But a really simple example is you start speaking in every older women's club and you show up with a book and they think you're a hero. Recently I showed up at this private women's society. I don't even know the name of it. They wouldn't tell me. Totally fine. They were all over 70. I showed them about 2 images, both from Growing Bolder. One of them, I can't remember if Mark showed it this morning, but one of them is a bunch of women that are clearly over 75 and then 3 junior high girls. And it says, we all still feel like we're in junior high. And I showed that to these women, and they all just busted out laughing because I could tell I felt like I was in junior high, like I was the boy that was in the wrong room, right? They loved that, and then when I gave them my book, immediately they were like, this guy's amazing, right? I won them over. In fact, 2 days later, a woman was in with her husband with the book in her hand. Right? It was that simple. I didn't have to market to them. I didn't have to pitch them. I didn't have to sell them training. I just gave them my book, talked to them for about 20 minutes about my passion for fitness and why we train older people, and the book did its thing. So it opens up doors to speak places. You now want to be at every health fair because you have a book to give away like crazy, right? People come up to your booth, they're like, you're giving me your book? Right? It's a really cool thing. And people don't throw books away, right? It's a hard thing to throw away. If I give you a book, it's sort of like, well, it's hard to just put it in the trash, right? Where's a postcard go? It goes in the trash, right? But a book does not. So
It's up to you. So the cool thing is it's wholesale now. The technology's changed, so it's print on demand. My first book, I ordered 25 copies, right, the first time. So
I print 500 at a time, and I get aggressive giving them away as fast as I can. Speaking at places, going to health fairs, showing up places, going to different businesses that are like, doctor's offices. They're sitting in the lobby, right? I've had several clients that are like, oh, my doctor wants 10 more of your books. Great, here you go. Take them, put them in the doctor's office, right? All right, let's do one last question because we're over time now. So Bryce.
Well, I don't have a question, but just speaking from experience, I've worked with them. I promise they didn't ask me to even come up here, but it's just been a really game changer for us. Like, it adds so much credibility, especially with the boomer population. And then even we did the second option where we had to write the preface and all that, and like Nicole's direction was crucial. And I have a deep profound respect for like full authors, because even writing a preface is actually very difficult to let an author in a whole book. But they were great, so I certainly highly recommend it if you guys are on the fence.
And we added a chapter for him on cryogenics, right? So we customized his book, because that's a niche for there. So yeah.
All right, thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.